Loubia, a Lebanese classic, otherwise known as green beans in oil. As with most stews, start with an onion and some garlic. And I also have a red chili. I've got some fresh green beans here. You can also use frozen ones too if they're out of season. The final ingredient is some tomatoes. So you can also use canned tomatoes, but I'm going to be using fresh tomatoes with some tomato concentrate. I'm going to start by chopping my onion, take off the ends, and I'm not going to chop it too finely because it's like a chunky stew. I'm going to drizzle some mild olive oil into a medium-sized pot. You have to really cook the onions in any stew. That will develop the flavour. If you rush the onions, you will sabotage the stew. I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to turn the heat on the onions to medium-high for the first 5 minutes. And then I'm going to reduce the heat to low and let them caramelise. Many people will now add the green beans at this point, but they're not golden enough for me. I need to cook them down maybe for another 10, even 20 minutes. You have to be really patient with your onions. It's worth it, I promise. As the onions are cooking down, I'm going to chop my garlic. I never cook garlic on high heat because burnt garlic tastes really bad, so try and avoid that. Traditionally, people don't add chilies to this green bean stew, but one time I added half a chili and it just tasted so good. I mean, if you love spice, add the whole chili, but I feel half a chili is just enough. Once the onions have caramelized, add the garlic and the chili and cook for a few minutes on low heat. I'm going to trim the ends off the green beans. The gnarly ends are the important ones, but you can also trim off the other side too, it doesn't hurt. I'm going to roughly chop 4 or 5 medium-sized tomatoes. There are 2 main ways to make a tomato sauce for any stew. You can use a combination of freshly chopped tomatoes and a little bit of tomato concentrate. The reason why we add tomato concentrate is that it boosts that tomato flavour, so it's not just a watery sauce. You can also use a can of chopped tomatoes when they're out of season. The garlic have had a few minutes to cook down, and now I'm going to add the green beans. Once we've added the green beans, I'm going to turn the heat to medium-high and add another good drizzle of mild olive oil. I mean, this dish is called green beans in oil, Loubia. So, drizzle generously the mild olive oil. What we're going to do, we're going to saute them until they're like a vibrant green, and you'll see the difference in the colour. I'm adding here about a tablespoon of tomato concentrate, which I'm going to combine with the tomatoes, the fresh ones. Like I said, it's perfectly fine to use a can of chopped tomatoes, but for some reason I find using fresh tomatoes and tomato concentrate gives a superior tasting sauce. Turn the tomatoes and the green beans well. I probably should have used a larger pot, but oh well. I like to add the salt at this point, almost 3/4 of the way through cooking. When you've sauteed them for about 5 minutes or so, I'm going to add some boiling hot water. About half a cup should be enough. That's just to help create the nice sauce. Once the sauce comes to a boil, as you can see, reduce the heat down to the very lowest and put a lid on. Cook the stew for about 20 minutes to half an hour until the green beans are well done. Yes, Arabs like their vegetables well done. The traditional way to serve Loubia is in a bowl with some nice fresh flatbreads. If you have some rice lying around, you can also eat it with that. There is a meat version actually called Loubia b'lahmeh, which I also have on my blog, and that is traditionally eaten with rice for some reason. Loubia was one of the first dishes I learned when I left home, and it's also one of the most comforting ones too. I've put the link for the full recipe in the description below. Thanks for watching and see you next time.